And I'm always inspired when I sit down and speak or listen to youth engagements. For me, coming early enough to listen to Banky was also a plus, because we really don't think about the reform aspect of things. We want to create new things and force it on the existing structure. But what came through from Banky's conversation this morning is that we need to start the work from the roots. We cannot wish away or pretend like the road does not exist. We need to just go back to that reform bit. I don't belong to a political party. I've not found one that I align with, but maybe you really won't find one that resonates with you. Maybe what I need to start thinking about is one where my change can be felt. So maybe I need to go back to the drawing board. And this is me taking from what he said. Maybe what I need to do is, instead of being uppity and thinking their values don't align with mine, they change election results, they rig this, they do that, and all those things we do, looking at them from our noses. Maybe what I need to do is to go back and check where I can make the most impact one day at a time. Or maybe where I have similar people working. Okay, like that whole long introduction, especially the work beat, is to say, who went to university in the West? Any work? You know the work called any work? Yeah, so while it sounds so funky, you know, the fix-it career, the girl that the pool where there's a problem. You know that's you know those kind of, yeah, that's what it looks like. So don't think so funky. She just wakes up and she's her, and she wakes up and she's there. They have their rewards. I'm not going to pretend to you here. I've worked for 22 years and it's been rewarding. I'm not going to lie. But the truth is, it's work. Work is work. And when they make it sound like you've been everywhere, you've done this work, sales, you've done marketing, you've done service, you've done operations, you're doing strategy. It's just because you've gone around working. Nobody wakes up and says, oh, let me try this year. Let me try this that year. And that's what I want to talk to you about. The brand is the person, and the person is the brand. And you can't move faster than your brand. I always encourage people to take notes, because they say the faintest ink is sharper than the brightest memory. So, or the sharpest memory. So it's good to be able to refer to something. So yes, I started in service, and just so it's relatable to you, I started as a call center consultant in Airtel Nigeria. You know those people that, hello, this is Airtel, this is, okay, it was, good afternoon, this is Keynote Wireless. My name is Olufunke Isichei, Olufunke. Then how may I help you? And then you solve problems. Well, that was how I started, and 2 years later, the trajectory started. What drives me? What drives me is, I love excellence, and it doesn't matter where it is. I recognize it in people. I look for it where it's not existing and see if we can bring it out. I work to achieve it. And there's a Bible verse, Proverbs 22:29. It's a promise. It's a leading for me. It says, show me a man that is diligent in his ways. He will stand before kings. He will not bow before mean men. So it shows me, that Bible verse tells me, I'm a Christian. I apologize if you're not. I'm going to refer to that a bit because it's what drives me. Something beyond the salary must drive you. That's the first thing. We're talking about career. I'm a professional, so I'm going to speak from what I know. Something beyond the work must drive you. Something inherent must drive you. And for me, it's my value system. I look at my value system in two ways. My faith is important to me. So the Bible has taught me about diligence. So I'm not looking to be successful by cutting corners. I'm not looking to cheat. I'm not looking to compromise my values or trade off my faith or my principles. I'm looking to do the work, because that Bible verse talks about diligence. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can make doing the work easy and a part of you. So the first thing that drives me is my faith. And because of my faith, it shapes the way I behave as well, right? There are some things I can't do. So I'm not part of the pack that the end justifies the means for. The means is as important as the end for me. The how is critical to me. And this is what I teach people that work with me. I have 2 boys in the university. This is what I tell them. I have 3 sons. Yes, she said so. 2 are in uni. 1 is in SS1. So, oh, thank you. That's a compliment, definitely. So this is what I teach everywhere. That the how, because the part of the problem we have in the world today is that many people do not think about the how, and they get into trouble. If you compromise to get something, you need to compromise to get the next level. So it's just better to do the work and build a brand. I've worked for 22 years. I've worked across industries, and I've worked in 3 great organizations. After my first job, I have never applied for a job. I don't look for the next thing or the next level. It finds me. That's the other part of brand building. So there's going to be someone who has worked for you. And I can tell you with every sense of modesty that every time I'm trying to make a decision, I've been where I am for 12 years. It's the longest I've been. And even where I am, they keep reinventing me to make sure I don't get interested. So I'm a bit restless. When I finish a challenge, I want to move to the next challenge. So my employer now, they manage from the heart. They are very smart. So every point in time is like there's someone on me. When I'm about to get bored, someone just gives me. That's why I've been here for 12 years. That's why you see that career jumping from here to here to here. It's because I am restless. And an organization that manages talent understands that restless talents have to be repeatedly challenged. Otherwise, they get bored. So in building your brand, it needs to be clear who and what you are. Because if you're working, no matter how small the job is, if all you do is go on LinkedIn and you're looking for a job every day, you're distracted already. You can't give your best. You can't think of a future. You can't plan for a future. You can invest into a future. So be very deliberate about who you are. The second thing that motivates me apart from my faith is family. I've talked about family here. My marriage will be 20 years next year. So family is important to me. My siblings and I are really close. Someone on social media said to me recently, it's as if I know all your siblings. My siblings and I are close. My mom, we are close. My in-laws and I, we are close. Family is important to me. And friends that I consider family are also in my world. And they get the same kind of attention. So you need to define your world. Who should be important to you? Who is there? Because all these things help you define work. They actually help you define whether you'll be successful at work or not. My advocacies are important to me. So I've talked about faith, family, friendship. Advocacies are important to me. I work for the girl child. I work for women. I do advocacy for, I belong to an NGO for widows. I belong to an NGO for women who are sick. I do welfare stuff. It's easy to pull me into anything that has to do with helping others. Remember, Banky talked about compassion. I totally relate with that. And legacy is important to me. I'm a teacher. I've taught teenagers for over a decade. What it means is that all over the world, I have teenagers who are now youth. So you see me on Saturday and Sunday, I'm scheduling a talk with someone in Canada, someone in America, someone somewhere who is no longer a teenager, a youth but needs guidance. Those things are important to me. They take my time, they take away from me, they build me, because when you give, you build. So I want to start by telling you today, you're not too young to start giving. Anywhere you belong, have a volunteer role. Start to work, and it sharpens your sword. Some of the things they call excellence in my workplace are things I did maybe on a church committee. Maybe you plan something on a church committee and you realize you have powers bigger than the one you have at work, maybe as a junior, and you try something and it works and people applaud it, and then you go to work and you replicate it and it's seamless and it's excellence. So volunteerism gives you an opportunity to sharpen your skills, to hone your skills, to have a sounding board that you don't pay for. It's like an internship. So wherever you are, even if it's your secondary school association, plan the reunion. Test your organizational skills. See how easy it is to be a party planner when you're fighting decorators and caterers and all of that. There's no lesson that goes to waste. And no matter how free you think an exercise, a service is, it is developing you. It's like going to school. So we can get all the degrees or we can learn on the job. So I want you to take that critically, because I talk to a lot of young people and they think, what certification should I do? And it's okay to do those, but it's also okay to learn by working with people, by trying, by testing. So the legacy is important to me. Mentoring young ones is important to me. Teaching is important to me. And when I started with my faith, everything associated with my faith I don't take for granted. Integrity means everything to me. Character, honesty. I don't ever want to be the girl that says two different things to two different audiences. If people work with you, they should be able to say what you stand for. As far back as 15 years ago, if you send me a gift at work, my colleagues will send it back. They won't even wait for me. My junior colleague will say, Funke will not receive it. You have to take it back. So vendors learned early that I'm not the girl. So everywhere you are, you need to show who you are. When I moved from service to business, I had 0 qualification in banking. Remember, I came from telecoms. Remember, I did not. But the first role I got, my CEO said there was so much fraud around and he just needed someone who was clean. Nobody's clean, but you get the point. That was the language. And so I got taught the job, because I did not know the job, but I had the profile. And there are a lot of people in places today and positions, not because they are experts technically, but because they've shown a character that aligns with the goal that the organization or the body is trying to achieve. This is why it is important not to separate your person from the job. In fact, you are the career path. In determining where you go next, they are going to look at your temperament. They are going to look at your ability to tell the truth. They are going to look at your maturity, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, engagement skills, communication skills. These are all who you are. When we say we are teaching customer service, we are teaching home training, isn't it? Say good morning, say thank you. Say we appreciate you. Apologize when a customer is unhappy. It's basic home training. So understand that the first hack is that your person is as important as your skills. In the future of work, there's really no difference. Remember, you no longer sit in front of your boss. Most of you will be working from home. So trust becomes a more critical skill or character or attribute for you to succeed in the future of work. They must trust that you will do the right thing when nobody's looking. That is why you are working from home. So they don't want to think you may be watching Netflix. They want to assume that you are a high achiever. They want to assume that you are a solution provider. They want to assume that you're passionate and you are goal-oriented. And so you will do the work, even if you don't have a boss sitting in front of you. That's the future of work. And that is why increasingly who you are is more important than the qualifications you take around. So if really you have your value system defined, remember that's the first bit. You need to know who you are. And who you are also helps in saying, where can I work, where can I not work? I hope you know that there are organizations you cannot work for. There are organizations I can't work for. The organizations that have reached out to me, and we can see their core values on the pages of the newspapers. We have friends there, we have family there. So it's also part of it. Because if you, because of money, go into a place that does not align with your values, you will be sad. You will be miserable. You may even have the money and be unhappy. So understand that you first need to get who am I, define who you are, and then start to do the alignments. So we've cleared that about who you are. When people think of you, what do they think of? And there are so many things people can think of. She delivers, she's smart, she gets the job done, she's resourceful, she's ambidextrous. Do not get stuck on one talent, right? In the future of work, ambidexterity is critical. I'm a banker. I've been a banker for years. 7 years ago, I was in a self-sponsored conference in Houston, in the US, and the speaker said, banking will always be important, but banks will not be. I was a banker already. I'm like, what? Usai? Right? And then we didn't have all these fintechs. They had started thinking of, but they weren't eating into our food like that. You know, and today the banks that would continue to evolve, to be successful are the banks that can evolve. You may not know the names, but almost every bank today either has a fintech or is working at one. So that is how you, as a human being, should think. I started with customer service. I remember when they were going to move me from customer service. You see, I had that career mapped out, and I'll tell you again what that speaks to, because you don't know it all. I said I'll be a customer service person. I'll work for so years. And when I'm 40, I would retire. And I will create my own customer service company and be teaching people. So I was so deliberate. By the time I had worked for 2 years, I started to cultivate an alternate career in training and development. That's why, apart from the job I had, I would go for I'm a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. You don't even get there it's not something money buys. If you meet a fellow of FITD, it's one of the most deliberate and most conscientious bodies in this country. I joined in 2005 because I thought the future was training for me. And I was going to retire at 40. I was 46 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, my CEO, thank you. So, I noticed that if I go for an interview anywhere, when the CEO meets me, they'll say, you should be in front of customers. Yeah, salesperson, I always got angry. Why is it all they see? And then I got a CEO who then really paid attention to me and started to mentor me and started giving me sales book. When it started, I said, I don't want to read sales book. It was it's still my organization, but he's gone beyond CEOs today. And I was saying, I don't want to do sales. I don't want to do these things. And he said, Olufunke, just read. Is there a problem with reading? And so I kept reading, and they kept sensitizing me. I'll just find myself in a class with only salespeople. They'll be training them. Sometimes in South Africa, what am I doing in this place? It's not my job. And they started preparing me. And then one day, it was a very painful conversation for me. One that they even had to have with my husband. They said, this girl needs to do something else. And took me out of sales, out of service. But you know, I'm so grateful for that opportunity today. Because there's even no place for a purely service person again. You're either doing service and operations, service and sales. So look around, all the contact center now, they have tele-sales budgets. So imagine that I never learned sales, but I'm even out of there. So I went to do hardcore sales. I went to do relationship management. And then I did branch manager. And then I did regional manager. Just preparing you for what you don't know. But what I've learned today, my organization just went through a structural change that is huge post-COVID. And I had opportunities to be anywhere because I had done so many things. So do not stick to one expertise. The key to winning and being relevant in the future is ambidexterity. And even the skills you don't know, you should show passion to learn easily. So one of the things I ask when I'm recruiting is, are you a quick learner? Are you going to make the turn quickly? Or is it going to be a steep curve for you? Start to show flexibility. If you've not read Who Moved My Cheese, go and read it. You need to understand how to, because the workplace of the future is evolving. You'll be in an organization and the whole structure will change right before your eyes. You need to be one of the people that no matter the change, they will put you somewhere. And somewhere good. Because with every change, there are people who get relegated. Because they have skills of yesterday that is no longer relevant to the future. I once had a boss. The boss was fantastic. He was my birthday mate. I loved him. And he was a bit elderly. And I loved elderly bosses. And he was fired. I cried so badly. In fact, when I had and I called him, I was saying, Funke, keep quiet now. I was the one wailing. I was quiet. Maybe he saw it coming, I don't know. But I cried so much. And then I took the courage to go and ask his bosses, my directors, my CEO, what happened? He was such a good guy. And they say, yes, but his skills are not relevant for where we are going. It was okay for where we were coming from. So you need to develop yourself. So there are organizations like mine. I work for Stanbic IBTC. We're a member of Standard Bank Group. I'm proud of it. We have the best development center in Africa. It's called GLC, Global Leadership Center. Now, if Stanbic wants to take you somewhere, they prepare you. But I can tell you, I've worked for Nigerian banks. I've worked for organizations. Not up to 20% of organizations do that. So you are forced to prepare yourself for your next level. So that is what you do to win. So I'm not going to come here and pretend that, oh, I always prepared myself. Remember, I confessed, I prepared myself to retire at 40, to do training, to do customer service. But that doesn't even fulfill me today. Someone called me and said, oh, there's a director of customer service role somewhere. Are you interested? I said, they must add something to it. I'm too big to do service alone. Meanwhile, this was the future I thought I saw. So I've been blessed to be prepared. I also prepared myself for something, but the future of work is for those who prepare themselves for that future before anybody even sees it. And if you read enough, you will see it. So COVID accelerated the future of work by a long mile. I remember one time I was trying to get some of my team to work from home. It was tough. Oh. Productivity was low. Everything. Sometimes I would even wake up. Are these people even doing anything? Maybe they're in the market. Maybe they're cooking soup. You know, I was just struggling. At the point I said, Olufunke, you're not, you can carry your innovation and go somewhere. Everybody come back to work. We work physically. But what did COVID do? Forced us there. We had no choice. I had a 140-man team when COVID happened, an operations team, supporting businesses. I needed to be sure they were delivering, and I was. 1 year after COVID, I still worked from home. I will sit on my system, and I'll look at a dashboard, and I'll tell you who is struggling, who is doing well, who's productive. That's the future COVID forced upon us. But I didn't know it when I made that struggle and I abandoned it. So be ready, be prepared, groom yourself, prepare yourself, learn. See, no matter the job you are doing, always be learning something additional. And you don't have to move there. Sometimes they put you on projects. Participate. Research. Be a valuable resource. Like I've told you, in my church, 2 people used to do things. Some of us came together and we formed an event company for them. So when we're in church, you want to decorate, you want to do this. Yes, you say you have no job, you bet. Oh yeah, 2 of you, what does it take? So we started by church members, please patronize them. So they'll come to your children's party. Sometimes you show them pictures. I don't do nonsense, so this is what I want. They'll do it. Bake cake. Some you go to there, they can eat, they can cook well. You know, we do women meeting, we go, you cook so well, and you say you are jobless. How are you jobless? What you need is, in fact, when I started teaching financial management and planning, I started in church. Because I saw so many people with skills that people didn't have, and they didn't know how to monetize it, and they were still thinking they were poor. You can't be poor. If I can cook, I won't even be a banker. Because really, the capital, what are you talking about? Do you know how much they make in Ghana High? I'm not even talking about the vertigos of this world. Do you know how much Ghana High makes daily? Even though they start putting coriander in rice. The woman died with a recipe. No, we'll talk about that. You need to leave a legacy. Ghana High woman died, and unfortunately, I think she died with a recipe. Those children are struggling. No, but I don't eat it anymore. None of my friends. We used to buy Ghana and take to London for people. You don't know it. Jebota, where do you work? Okay. So when we started working, there was Mr. Biggs, then there was Tantalizers. But the real discoveries were Ghana High, right? Yeah, Ghana High. And then when I worked in FCMB, there was someone called the Yeba. I don't know. People don't know that one. Catchy people. You know Yeba, right? Lagos Island. People will remove their, they'll remove those lawyers, they'll remove their wig and sit down. Yeah. It was them my office, so I never had to see it. But I'm just saying that leave a legacy. If you know something, it can be monetized, is what I'm saying. And so we started to teach women in church, because I was a woman executive, to say, whatever you can do, your husband can wash and iron, start to take clothes from people, do washman, bring it back, go to their homes. Nobody should be poor. We started to teach people those things. And even if you're in the workplace, you just need to learn how to solve problems. Anybody that can solve problems in this world will be very successful. Very. So everywhere you are, think about skills that you need to learn. They may be different from what you are doing now. And when you are getting to that expertise stage, please be uncomfortable by yourself. When you think you've mastered what you're doing, start to take on something new. And your time is so... When I was at LinkedIn Lagos a month ago, it's so beautiful. They'll just say, go to this, there's this certification, go to this, you can learn this, even YouTube. So many places to teach and learn. Please leverage them. Don't take them for granted. When I said friendships, I was very deliberate. Meaningful friendships. Friendships that add value to you. Friends that ask you, what next? I have a friend that is an accountability partner. If I tell her I want to do something, she will put it on her calendar and put it on my own calendar and be dragging me on top of my own projects. You need friends like that. Friends that you want to tell that I want to be kinder, and they'll say, have you done this for this person this month? Friends that can call you and remind you what the value you want to espouse are, and you then go to do the right thing. You need good friendship. So it's important. So I've talked about identifying your value drivers, know what drives you, keeps you grounded. Salary cannot drive you, please. There's no money good enough to drive you. I will tell you that. Why you need to have a value driver is this. I don't know how old your career is. You are going to meet bad bosses. Bad bosses can make you unproductive. You don't want to work. And a boss might not be bad as a person, but you just don't flow. and that would hit you negatively. So that is why I have that Proverbs 22:29. I'm always diligent in my ways. It doesn't matter if I have a boss or not. I have to, because it's my driver. So there are years you're expecting promotion, it does not come. You need to remain diligent, because it can be discouraging. And while you are mourning and lamenting over the promotion you've lost, you are recording a poor performance for the next cycle. This is why you need value drivers that are beyond salary, beyond the boss, beyond the company, beyond who you know. It just has to come from you. So again, I'm talking about being deliberate. Someone said any commuter without a commitment to commit crime. It sounded funny to me when I heard it, but over time I've had to think about it. There's no lacuna in life. If you're not deliberate about something, someone said if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So where do you want to go? From the moment you get the job, start mapping out, what do you want to do? What do I need to do it? Do the work. Be deliberate. Develop that brand. Know yourself. If you've not read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, please go and read it. It teaches you to know yourself, Stephen Covey. It teaches you to know others. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's the starter pack I give my children when they are 10. It's the starter pack for a career or for an intentional development life. You need to read that book. My pastor, Pastor E. Adeboye, used to say the greatest victory in life is victory over self. When you've mastered your weaknesses, your fears. So when you know yourself, it's easy to understand. Do a SWOT analysis on yourself. Do you know what a SWOT analysis is? Your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Your strengths and weaknesses are internal to you. It's what you have. It's what you do so well. Your weakness is what you don't do so well, or what impacts you so negatively. Your opportunities and threats are external. Your opportunities are things around you that can make you better if you leverage them. And your threats are things around you that can pull you down. But to be successful, it's important that you master all. So do that about yourself. Be very honest. It's your notebook, right? These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. Even when I get any job, I'll say, who are my strengths? What are my strengths for this job? What are my weaknesses? For the things I don't know on that job, I get a mentor or a coach for each. So when I took on operations, I had no operations experience, but I had been head of a KYC project that was basically operations, and one director led me through that process. I went back to him and said, I have a big operations role. You know that I don't know operations. That thing you taught me that. I said, you're an operations guru, Funke. But I started meeting with him monthly. I want to do this. I'm thinking of this. I said, after some time, I said, I will chase you from here. In fact, the last 2 times I went, we were gisting. Because he said, you know it, but you need to be conscious that you need to learn, that you need to grow, that you need to develop. You need to learn. You need to just do the work. So make sure that you're honest about the gaps that you have, and you're deliberate about how you fix them. Prayers won't, and I'm a Christian, I promise you. You need to work, even as you pray. That's what will make the difference. And pay a lot of attention to the present. If you don't, you won't predict the future. When you make a mistake, look back. Why? Write it down. It's a lesson. Every mistake is a lesson. Don't condemn yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You're making a mistake because you are doing something. Some people are just lying down lazy. They're not making mistakes because they're not taking up anything. So you are better than the person that is not doing anything, even with your mistakes. Always console yourself with that and move forward. Learn from it and move forward. And look up to those above you. Role modeling is very good. I like it. But I don't want you to think someone is better than you. You are unique. The best copy of the greatest man is still inferior to your original. So it has to be you. So I role model in a very compartmentalized way. The person I look up to in marriage is different from the person I look up to in career. Sometimes you don't find it all together. And the mistake we make is to just go and follow someone and carry everything, what's and all. So role modeling is good. If you have a boss at work who you admire, who you want to be like, who has all the qualities, and you can move close to that person. Or you can even role model from a distance. It's very good. And it's different from mentoring. Mentoring is someone teaching you. Role modeling is someone you think is already where you want to be, and you can either look at or learn from. Role modeling can be one-on-one, can be from a distance. So understand, for instance, Christians, we're modeling Jesus, aren't we? But we haven't physically met him. But we know his qualities and characteristics, and we know when we can ask ourselves, are we children? When my children was young, my baby, when he does something bad, I say, are you a child of God? He say no. Because he just doesn't want any blackmail. So don't come and ask me if I'm a child of God. You just say no ahead of time. You know how you talk to children and you say, the children of God, are you a child? You say, no, mommy, I'm not. Like, don't go there. But the point is, you already know what makes you a child of God. That's role modeling from a distance. And you want to be like Jesus or whoever it is that you believe in. So having a mentor helps you chart the course of a career. I'll give you a practical example. When I was coming to my current employer, I had 3 letters, and the other 2 had twice the salary that this organization was. And my mentor said no. And I was arguing with her. I said, how? Can't you see this money? And she said, no, Olufunke, these organizations are not on the same level. These are Nigerian banks, Anyway, she called her husband to convince me. I was going to say that you worked in an international organization. You really won't do well in these places. It's not for you. You're vocal, you're expressive, you're all about the work. You don't understand politics, you're clueless. She said a lot of things and said, you won't do well in those places. Anyway, today, those 2 banks, our blessed memories. It took a mentor to save me. Because look at my knowledge, twice the salary. I knew where I was going, no. My decision was made. I just went to run it by her to say, which of these 2 big monies should I go to? And she changed my course. She said, you are academic, you are cerebral. These ones, they have a global leadership center. It's one of the best in the world. This place is for you. But then the money was calling me. So you need a mentor. They've seen things that you cannot see. And it's better not to make the mistake if you can learn from people ahead of you. Sometimes they're teaching you so that you don't make the mistakes they've made. So a mentor is important if you want a career, even in business. There are people who have done businesses, who have made mistakes in businesses, who have learned. Having a mentor is like cutting corners. They teach you the tricks, the hacks. They give you guidance, direction, and they hold your hand. Find a job that you love. Try. Find a job that you love. When you have a job that aligns with your strengths, aligns with your values, you accelerate, you flourish, you are happy, you are fulfilled. It doesn't feel like work. You wake up singing. That's the job you love. But let me teach you the other side. That is survival. Love the job that you have, even if it's not the job you love. See, if you say you do a stupid job, you're a stupid man. Forgive my language. So if you say that stupid work, who wakes up in the morning, dresses up, goes through traffic to go to a stupid work? Who? A stupid man. A stupid man. It's not that when the husband calls the wife foolish. Who marries a foolish woman? Or who marries a foolish man? Mrs. Foolish. Mrs. Foolish. Either way. So be careful what you speak. Even if this job is not your destination, it's part of your journey. Make it count. So I said, find the job that you love. Oh, love the job that you have. Because sometimes you don't have the job you love. Sometimes the job you have is the stepping stone to the job you will love. And I always tell people in my office, like if you think you are a receptionist, you can't think like a receptionist and grow. Who do you want to be? Start thinking like that. I remember one time I used to go to Pastor Anselm Mabduko's church, and he taught me once, and I used to do it and used to work. He said, if you want your salary increase, start paying the tithes. ahead. And I used to do it those early days. You pay tithe for what you want to earn. And the next review, you say, if I 1 year was the same amount, that's how you should behave. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Behave like that person. No worry, you are a floor member, but you think you should be a manager. You think the manager is not better than you. You think the team lead doesn't have better skills than you. You think you are more intellectual, you are more cerebral, you are more technically expert. No problem. Show what you are. Even on that road, someone will identify and bring you out and say, this person belongs here, not here. It always happens, and that then takes you to the job that you love. And sometimes the job that you love is not the destination to greatness. Remember the job I loved. It took leaders who have developed millions of people, and I've looked at people to look at me and say, this girl, if I myself say, you'll be bored, you go and do that your service thing, you will come and look for a job in 2 years. And the way he was talking to me, I said, I'm on top of my life. He knew me better. It was right. Because today, that thing is not a challenge for me. How could I thought it was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life? Retiring at 40. So, anywhere you find yourself, do it so well that greatness will find you there. Don't go around looking for this and that. Show excellence everywhere you are. And I've also said the church committees. I have EDs in my church. I don't know how many times they've told me, come to my bank. I said, no, I can never work for Nigerian bank. But if I was job hunting, I found it. I have people who move jobs in church. Just because they're on this committee, someone sees them, I said, this would be an asset to this organization. They find jobs. There are business owners everywhere you are. They are captains of industries. So you say you are in your school association. Someone will look at your excellence and want you somewhere else. So don't wait till you get your dream job. You want to do data, but you are doing receptionist. Show the difference now between you and other receptionists. Learn small data skills online and show us now. When they ask for your report, rank your own and put some effigy on it. And see if someone will not say, this girl can do something else or this guy can do something. Show the workings. Not by prayer and fasting alone. Or not by jumping and dropping CV everywhere. Show the workings. You know these days, I don't recruit anybody without asking what everybody can package. You come to interview. In fact, it was recently I learned that there are organizations that train people how to attend interviews in Nigeria. Come and speak English. Then you come, where is this thing now? We'll be dragging. So now you say, you work here, who is your boss? I don't wait till that formal referee. I will look for someone who knows someone. Please, this person, how does he perform? What does he know? How do background check. How is the team dynamics? I once employed a manager. I went on vacation. When I came, all of them were not talking to one another. I said, what did I do? I called the manager into the room. Madam, what is happening? These are young people. He said, this one is rude to me. That one was, And you know, millennials, Gen Z, they don't have time for nonsense. They said when they are giving an idea, I should just shut it down. Listen. Madam, listen. I just found my way out and just, it's a law of the lead. This person's senior is, I said, this team, they will not fly. Oh. How do you make people feel? If we send you to a meeting, some people, you send them to say, when they come back, conspiracy theories. Those people don't want to do it. They don't want to partner with us. I don't even think they like stand big. I say, we need love. You can't sell any brand without love. So I look for happy people. I ask them, what do you do when you're not working? Those are the questions I ask. Of course, before you get to me at an interview, you've passed every other thing. You've passed Isichei, you've passed. So what's my own with your degree? People laugh when they leave what was the last book you read? Let's talk about it. Sometimes I'll just read you about Grey's Anatomy. I want to look at the human angles you are bringing out. Is it Netflix? What did you watch last? What series do you like? What books do you read? I once interviewed someone who wanted to do service. I said, where are your parents? Oh, they are old. They live in Sulere. Okay, good. Where do you live? So I stay with my friend in Dolphin. We rented a BQ. That's fine. So when do you go and see them? Say, I have to go once a month because my elder ones abroad say I must go. First red warning bell in my, no empathy. You have aged parents. You don't live with them. You have to go because they say you must go once a month. What do you do when you go? I say, you are old. Sometimes I even sleep. You don't arrange their wardrobe. You don't check. You say they will have one woman taking care of them. You don't check the food they eat. You don't check their drugs. You don't check their BP. Everybody say he's brilliant. He did this. He said, I'm not hiring. This is not a helper. And it was a service role. This is not a helper. This person doesn't care about his grandparents. Is it my customer is going to love? You must show love. So when I'm hiring you, even for leadership role, do you have siblings? Do you have cousins? How are you with your in-laws? If everybody's a witch, I'm not hiring you. Everybody doesn't like me. I've come here only by myself. Nobody has grown you. Nobody has invested in you. Nobody has taught you anything. Come on. Once I was going to be reporting to someone, and I was so reluctant, but the role was a bigger role for me. So I said, I don't want that role. My auntie said, why? I said, this person I'm going to report to, she's not Sally Bra. I've met her. We can only talk about bags. Like, she doesn't, and my boss said, anybody can teach you anything. Don't do that. And when I reported to that lady, really, she's not your traditional worker. She doesn't like to work, but she was such a thinker. And she had such great negotiation skills. We'll go and meet customers that are owing us. We'll talk. She'll say, no, we need to leave here with a check. I'm looking at her. They will find that check. Oh. I learned things from her. Meanwhile, I'll go. The customer will speak English, make excuses. I'll go back and be doing memo. I said, no, you can't say that. Look at the car you put outside. We need to leave here with something. Drag customer like that, dragging. In suits, I'll be looking at her. With this courage. I learned so much from her, especially on negotiating conflict situations. I learned it. So the truth is, anybody can teach you anything. And you should be prepared to acknowledge those who have invested in your life. And you should understand, because I know that our youth today, when I look at Twitter, I'm like, what's this negativity? My father was evil, my mother was evil. I was firstborn. I'm firstborn. You know what it means in my time? When you go to birthday party, your sister must not lose their shoe, your brother must not lose the wristwatch, all your siblings must have party pack, or your mommy will beat you. Do you know what it means? And I don't feel abused. So sometimes when I read those things on Twitter, I say, mommy, I be will abuse me. Interpret the things that give you strength. But that whole firstborn thing is why I started competing with boys early. I didn't think there was gender role, gender anything. I didn't think so. I understood responsibility early. In fact, my initial, when I was so junior, they'll say she has natural leadership capabilities. It's firstborn. Who gave me leadership book to read as a child? It's firstborn. So everything you go through, you think is an inconvenience. I used to like my friends who would come to a party and all they did was dance. I remember one party, I cried all the way home. My younger one didn't get party back. Because my mother will ask me, how? What were you doing? I was dancing. And I won. But no, I cried. But I learned responsibility. I learned accountability. I learned to be trusted. I learned interdependency. I learned to manage my fun or my enjoyment with responsibilities. I learned to care for others. I learned to look out for others, not be selfish. So every situation you go through, when we were growing up, firstborn, sometimes we used to hold meetings as friends, because I went to FGC and be lamenting amongst ourselves on how difficult it is to just go through this life. And they'll be asking you about another person. Today my siblings act like I'm the last born. These things evolve. So look for positive people. Show positivity. Don't put your problems in front. See the cup as half full. If you didn't learn anything today, learn that you are the job, not your skills. And this world is so hard. Everybody's looking for happiness. So when I meet people, I ask them, what do you do for fun? When I leave here, I'm going to a party. You must step down. What do you do for fun? If you see me dancing in church, David is my uncle. I always want people, you need to be free. Don't be clamped up. Gone are those days. Everybody's looking for joy, for happiness, for some peace. Don't be combative. Don't be arguing. Don't be speaking big English up and down the place. Communicate. Make sure people can understand you and you understand them. Read the room. Some people keep talking when the room has shut down. You can't work well like that. If you're in a committee, add value. But make sure you are giving room for other voices to be heard. But make sure you are also visible enough for your skills, talents, and attributes to be known and seen. So please, in the workplace, in this career growth, it is developing yourself. I started very vocal. I went to Unilag. I went to FGC. My mouth was very sharp. It took some leaders to say, no, you have to calm down. In fact, when I started in the call center, so you don't think I started out perfect. When people have problems, they'll write it down. I'll be the one to speak at the meeting. I will speak English. So my boss called me and said, you are easily the smartest person in this place, but you are so rebellious. You need to calm down. He started teaching me. This day ahead, that's what I thought. And he started teaching me, Olufunke, you need to communicate without being combative. You need to learn to negotiate. You need to learn to... In fact, I got to a place that, because I'm very passionate, I won't even state my opinion in the meeting. Because in just talking, it would be like I'm fighting. So I'll leave the meeting and then go and say, but you know that thing you said, this is what I think, this is what I think. That was when I started to have sense. But before I would say what I think, then my boss would give... I say, no. If you look at this, research says, So understand that you need to grow. Everyone needs to grow. And today, when I see people like me, I manage rebels the best in my organization. Because I see through them. They were me. Right? So understand that today, nobody really has... The patience my bosses had then, we don't really have it these days. It takes people who are really interested in others to groom like that, to take you beyond your behavior or your, or outbursts or utterances. So you have to come very seasoned. There's very little time, too many talents. You need to see amazing things people are doing out there. So you need to do something different. You need to be something better than the next person. If you all have the same degree, who do we choose? Character. That's the differentiating factor. Not degrees anymore. Lead with excellence, work with excellence. Ecclesiastes 9:10 says, whatever your hand finds to do it with your might. Anything you are touching, touch it well. And make sure when you are giving something to do, they can go to bed. That was the first reputation I built. In fact, my boss would tell his bosses, give Funke, you can sleep. And I would die trying. And it doesn't matter how many people need to help me. When my dad was alive, I used to send him things to help me with. Right? He was a lecturer. I would say, Daddy, what do you think? This. And you need to grow, you need to learn, you need to show you are better than the next person just by doing. So make sure they can trust you. Sometimes it helps to have a sponsor. A sponsor is an advocate. So a mentor teaches you, grooms you, helps you get from A to B. A sponsor is the voice in the room that says Olufunke can do it. A sponsor is always looking out for openings for you. So if you're in an organization, look for a sponsor. Someone with a lot of power, someone with position, someone with a voice. They also help you these days. They call your name when opportunities come. And you are as knowledgeable as the last thing you read. Except I want a quiet time. Even when I'm in the bathroom, I have YouTube. I just listen to many things. I know so many things, some of them against my will. And I'll tell you one, just as an icebreaker. Please tell me when my time is almost up. So one way or the other, I heard that someone was going to have a home bath. Her name was Cora. Cora Obidi. So they said she was going to have a home. I'm a banker. You need to consciously step down. So I then followed her and followed her husband because I wanted to see the home bath. And I was on vacation. I know that I was abroad, Sha. So, but that home bad didn't happen, no. Because I then put an alert, and then when I was watching the bath, then one time they said the cameras went off. You know, the next thing we saw our baby, all looking fine. I said, how do I know these people didn't rush to the hospital and have a baby? And I had my first dad, but I left it. And then the next thing, like I said, I was on vacation. I think I went to a resort, had no network. I came back, the husband was leaving her. What's going on? These people I just met. You know how you just meet a family online, falling in love, and what's going on here? So I then got interested because I have a very soft spot for women, and she just had a baby. Why would you leave a woman who just have a baby and all of that? So I started using style to follow them and all of that, and I saw the whole mess. Anyway, to cut a long story short, one day my husband said, "Oh yeah, unfollow us. I'm looking at you." Do you know that one day I looked at her? Her first child, she was on live. Then I said, why is she always on live? She has a baby. I started to be agitated. Every time I'm watching her, my baby will be, what's going on? Your baby's crying. Your baby's almost falling down. Oh, that's not hygienic. I'll be shouting. They can't hear me. Oh. So one day, the first daughter, she was online. Was I'm hungry. The girl carried honey. She helped the guy to open honey. And the girl was looking honey, so hungry. I started looking for social security number that, let me report this to my mother. Say, it's enough. We have to follow her now. So what am I saying? Control the things that affect you. Because some things make you unhappy. If it's the place you sit in the bus going to work, change it. If it's a free ride that someone is feeding you poison, telling you things that make you unhappy, start entering BRT. Leave the free ride. Your mind is important because you give off who you are. Some people are toxic, and no matter how skilled and competent they are going nowhere in the workplace. They are going nowhere. We just find a way to put them in a corner because they are usually instigators, and they usually create a very bad work environment. So we find a way to push them to one side. So make sure that you give up positive vibes, positive energy. If you have issues with someone, talk to the person alone. Do not give up combative attitude or negative attitude in the workplace. Take care of your mental health. Be teachable. Shadow jobs you find interesting. Because your friend is in data, she's not just your friend. She can teach you. I have someone on Facebook who is in product in the US. She's done so well for herself, Toyosi. I sent her a mail when I got my neuro to say, see, product is not under me. I need to clone your brain. She teaches me. She's 29. One Saturday in 2 weeks, she teaches me what to do. She's told me even the kind of people to hire who can deliver on what I want because it's not easy. So savings, promo, Stanbic, that's me. It's not easy doing retail products. I left university many years ago. So anybody can teach you is what I'm saying. Nobody is too young to teach you. Volunteer to take up additional roles. Find an external motivation. I've talked about church, family, hobbies, advocacy, education for people. Tilt the balance, give back, and breathe. Take care of yourself. Take time to take care of yourself. One of my young cousins used to say that, make time for enjoyment because sorrow will always make time for itself. One way or the other. So you have to make time for something that is good, for something that makes you happy, for something you like. Join a dance class. Go to the gym. It's part. See, if you are not whole, if you don't have wholeness, you can't have a successful career. So I'm sure some of you are wondering, what's all these things she's saying to me? That's what builds and develops you. So you must find that time to excel. There's a time we used to go and walk in Unilag. I could do 10 kilometers at a go because we were friends. We would all walk. Find people to do exercise with. Go to gyms, have work groups, have fun groups. If you're on any social media group, make sure it's fun. They're not gossiping or fighting. Just use things you have access to positively. Eat well, rest, meditate, work out, book spa dates. Now I make sure I don't miss it. And enjoy yourself. And make sure that anyone that experiences you have a lasting impression that makes them keep thinking of you. When people meet you, they should not be confused about the brand. Remember to always take care of the brand. Thank you. So, questions?
Thank you, ma'am. So if you have any question for her, please signify by raising up your hand. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, ma'am, for that awesome time. I hope to network with you after the program. So my question is, for someone who intends to transit from a career to another, for example, I'm currently a presenter on radio, but I'm looking into transiting into public relations, corporate communications. How would you advise I do that?
The easiest hack, get a mentor. But the truth is, you already have an urge. As a presenter, you've already honed exceptional communication skills that the others are trying. So leverage it, work the room. It's supposed to be an easy, because it's communication still. It's going to be easy for you, but I'll tell you, get a mentor. So I've been mentoring in Whisker, women in successful careers, for about 9 years now. Like 2 months ago, we had a session where Joket Silva and Kemi Lala, that's her name, they talked to us. Joke mentored Kemi. And you know, all those times it seemed she was accelerated. Joke was right behind her. When she was going to do her first movie, she couldn't afford the actors she went to speak to. She went to speak to them, and they all turned her down. And Joke then called all of them one after the other, and they called her back. She worked as, Joke had PAs, assistants, and all of that, but she was following Joke around locations just to learn. Mentorship is underrated, but you know, there are so many people who are great at this thing ahead of you. Even me, with my 22 years of experience, Adesoa came to train my team at work. Because of that savings promo, I find I'm on radio, my people are on radio. She came to train us just about 6 weeks ago. So you need to just find those people who already have the skills. And thankfully, unlike before, when I started customer service, it was John School in the US that I was writing every email to. I really didn't have mentors locally. But today, we have people in the industry who have gone ahead of us and have done these things. Leverage on them. Join all the groups you can. Even on Facebook, you have groups on those things. Like, I'm on every HR group in the world. I'm not in HR just to learn people management, because I love to develop talent, right? So join groups. Go on YouTube. Just type in anything you want. That YouTube is very underrated. It's very underrated. Type anything you want. Start taking all those lessons, 10 ways to, 20 ways to. You'll find out that one day you're just done, you're doing better than the experts. I always get into places. I remember when I became a branch manager, even people were afraid for me. One of my friends in church said, do you know this? Do you know that? I said, I don't know it. You know, but when I got there, because they were my colleagues, they were already afraid. I did that job for only 1 year. I became all their bosses. Because I didn't know. I was hungrier. So I learned from people in my bank. I had mentors outside. How do you do this? How do you do? And of course, it was the biggest bank in the country. So I learned so much that I started teaching them, the people I met on the job. I didn't do 1 year before I was promoted on that role. So sometimes it's a blessing to think you're inadequate, because it gets you over prepared. Because the greatest thing that can make you irrelevant in this world is complacency. When you think you've got it, you know it, it's really dangerous. So it's a good way to think. You're not assuming that because I'm already in radio, I'm comms, you already have an urge. Just get people to support you and don't stop learning. Thank you. Is there someone else?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for the savings promo recharge card that I got yesterday. I bank with Stanbic IBTC.
Oh, that's
yeah.
it.
Actually, I'm asking this question on behalf of my younger sister. She is at the point where you started Airtel. And 2 months ago, I was in Ibadan, and she was telling me that I help other people transition. Like she said that I'm not telling her anything that she needs to do. I've never been in the professional operations before, from university to business. So I'm asking if there are platforms where people can access you for mentoring directly, because I would like her to connect with you.
Yeah, so Whisker is a platform, Women in Successful Careers. But you can teach how. There are a lot of skills that you don't need to be in the corporate world to use. In fact, the most successful business people now are using corporate world skills. Skills we thought were limited to us. That's what the most successful SMEs are using today. You can help her. There's Women in Successful Careers, Whisker. Just look for them. They're on LinkedIn. I don't know if they're still taking people for this year. I'm a mentor in Whisker. What I love about Whisker mentoring is that it's so personal. They will find you someone whose CV matches yours, and they can hold your hand. But I'm on LinkedIn. We can chat after too. I may know one or two people who made that telco. I made the telco transition. I was one of the first people to leave telco for banking. It seemed bold then, but a lot of us have done it, and a lot of people are doing great. Yeah, thank you.
Last question.
Good afternoon, Ma. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to knowing that you run an NGO, because of I think I've had opportunity of being able to be in leadership position just at the, let me say, basic level. But of late also I decided to start up another NGO in terms of impacting the younger ones, and I focused on the undergrad. So I tend to work with my friend, but some of the challenge I tend to have is sometimes like, how do you encourage these people? Because it's something, especially when it's something that people are looking at, you've not gotten as big as you see you as, oh, you're that huge, you have this something you can just get to them, give to them. So at this kind of level, so I just decided, but a lot of time, because of the level of experience I've had, sometimes when I just, on my own self, I could just feel like, it's normal. Because I've gone through such phases in life before. But I just wish that there's a, seeing you, and is there a better way to better motivate your team? Have you been in a position where people could be so frustrating and it's as if they don't even care again? And you're like, am I the only carrier of this? So how do you manage that? And two, how do you get to, because sometimes I am a kind of person that love being strategic. When anything they call strategic, that is when my head just gets bubbled. So anything that involves planning, strategic, that's what I just love. So because of that, I love working with people that I just want to be in a room where people are just talking, planning, strategy. I just love that. So, but anytime when it comes to the issue of finance, I tune off. So I could have a lot of plan, a lot of goals, a lot of this, but when it comes to, okay, how do we get to monetize this thing? I don't just, the idea just get lost. So how do I get to that level of monetizing things?
The NGO world is a very tricky one. It's my mom that owns the NGO for widows. I just work for them. I work for different NGOs. It's a very tricky one, but you need to show them that there can be little successes. There can be, and there should be if you are doing everything right. Guys, people, when you see those influencers that are being given money, gifts, all of that, they're adding value to someone's life. You say, why is everybody following this one? Do you know sometimes you just speak and someone comes in and say, what you said, it changed my career. What you said, it changed the way I look at things. So you add value in the places that it matters, they would see you win. And you have to win. Nobody wants to follow struggling. You understand? And it doesn't have to be financial win. It can be the people you build win. It can be the people you groom win. It can be the help you give. They see. You understand what I'm saying? Show them the workings. The second thing I want to tell you is that strategic people, we are very dangerous. My profile always says what makes me different is because I do strategy and execution. Most strategic people are not doers. You can't be strategic and not know what finances is. I asked Kish today, how do you fund this thing? So Kish and I have engaged on it. I've never thought of it until today, and I was coming and I said, wait a minute, what's going on? And you need to think through it. Money matters in everything. You need to ask, what can I do? How do we raise these skills, these things we do? Which of it can we monetize? But usually, if you put value first, the money chases you. So don't chase money, chase value. So it's, yeah, thank you. So it's important that, so I told Kish, talk to me next year. Let's see what we can do. You can get organization sponsorship, you can this, you can that. It's because I'm here. But if Kish has brought me a letter of sponsorship, I get those things like 10 times a day. I will pass it to my marketing team. They have a standard declining response they will give to you, or maybe they will send you t-shirt and face cap or something. I'm just saying, because there are too many people begging in the world. But when you see people adding value, you are the one now saying, did I not pick up my phone to call you? I called him in the morning. I said, how do you do this thing? What do you do? What do you do? He didn't give me a sponsorship letter. He didn't ask me for anything. And I said, I work for a bank. I do retail. This is a youth program. We could have partnered with you. He said, I didn't want to ask you for anything. I get it. He sold value. Next day, I want to be a partner. That is how to do things. So when you are doing this work and you are putting it forward, finance is important. So you want to master how to have those conversations so that your value is clear. You also want to find a way to chase those sponsorship, because you can't keep telling people stories. Some NGOs are living large in this country. In fact, now when NGOs call me for public speaking, because I'm a certified public speaker, I ask for their structure. A lot of them are earning dollars. Then they'll come and take you, me that I work every day. As I was here, my boss called me, my ED called me. So they will come and take me, time I'm supposed to be, I'll come and talk for them free. They will carry dollars. So I asked them, what's your funding? Like, I want to know who I can work free for. And who should pay for my time? Because I get paid for my time. In fact, what I charge now is what I earn at work. If I'm going to spend my time talking, you pay me. I'm a certified, when I did John Master, it was over $7,000 to get my certification. And I've gotten additional certifications. So people want to be part of something that is important. Give value. The money will chase you. And let it be known that there's no strategy without execution. And sometimes you have to leave strategy and be operational or tactical. That is how to successfully run a business. Otherwise, you see this Nigeria, you are looking for thinkers, they're on Twitter. But when it's time to look for who is going to do the job, you then have to look deeper, right? So well done. Don't be discouraged and keep giving the passion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My question, I would have said you've answered it, but you didn't go straight to the point. My question is slightly related to his. My question is about working as an individual and not getting the financial value. I mean, in terms of salary. You're talking of giving value and getting the money, but I think it's for the part of the business creators, for the part of the business owners. Now, you as, how do I put it? The person that is, you're working for someone actually. Like someone like me now, I'm just starting my life. I'm looking for money. And I won't lie, I can't steal. But it pisses me off as an individual when I do a lot of jobs, do this, do that, and at the end of the day, you give me peanuts. I've worked with a lot of companies right from my university days. I even worked with GT Bank as their marketing staff, worked with Badger, worked with PZ and the likes. But you'll be surprised, at the end of the month, people will see you here, they'll see you there, but there's nothing financially to show for it as an individual. How do we beat that, please?
Okay, there are two ways to answer this question, and one of them might offend you. The first part is this. Sometimes you need to do more than the work to show your value. So there are a lot of you working around like that. So for me, now let me talk about when we get these contract salespeople, I look out for the talents amongst them. I absorb them into the system. That's what I do. Everybody wants a good head in their corner. We are all looking for talents. Forget it. Now, I always tell people, and I have many people asking me these questions about not feeling appreciated enough. Sometimes, do you need more or you need to be more? Because even the most wicked of people acknowledge value. So is it that you are doing so much, but it's not properly structured or visible, or you need to do more? So sometimes, I know it's easy to have the attitude of they don't appreciate me, I've done so much, but is it enough? I have people that think I grew fast. I look at them. They don't do what I do. My ED called me as I was here. I saw it on my phone. There are some of my peers that he can't call on weekends. They don't work on weekends. Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes you need to show what you give a bit more to get that thing that you want. And even I always ask myself, do I need to be more? Or do I just deserve more? That introspection helps. When you reflect, you yourself, put yourself in that CEO's position. Look at the things you do. Would you reward exceptionally for it? Be very honest and brutal with yourself. Would you reward exceptionally? Every day you leave work, you want to ask yourself, the value that I've added today, if they were to pay me on a daily basis, what would I earn? When you do that work, just make sure you show up when it's important. It will come. It's hard to see people who give in. It's hard. It's hard. It will come. Sometimes some people will feel they've relegated them. Someone will just see them and bring them out. It will come, and you don't need a godfather. So introspect, channel it a bit more directly, and watch your results come. You'll win, surely.
Thank you. Last question.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Okay, I just want to kind of understand you more on the mental part of it, especially when you're someone whose growth is very expedited. So you're going really fast at work. How do you deal with imposter syndrome, especially when you're pushed from one, like you've gotten to a certain level, and then you're like, okay, fine, she's doing too well here, go here. So how do you navigate that? And you're also dealing with people that are probably way older than you as well. How do you just navigate them?
So, welcome. I'm sure when you sat on the other side, you thought, when I get big, I'll be confident. And imposter syndrome happens to everybody. Even Obama with his gaffed up speech those days. Did you used to see him prepare for his speeches? Did you used to see him? He used to prepare like a rookie. He'll be missing the teleprompter, jamming it together. It's okay to have imposter syndrome. Just don't make it cripple your confidence. So what you do when you have it is to reinforce your strengths. Tell yourself, the first person you need to tell about your skills, your competence, your excellence is you. Am I this person? Do I know this? This person they say I am. If they throw me here. See, I don't think that is all the roles I've had that were out of love. I've had an ED before that thought, this girl, I beg you, throw her here, let's even see if she will swim. I thought so. Even though when I had that conversation, they said no, but I thought so. I've had a director before that I thought was testing me to be sure I was as solid as they were shouting. And he became my fan. So yes, it is okay to feel like that, but you should reinforce your strength, reinforce your confidence, and always show up when you get the opportunity. And yes, when you start growing fast in a place that has young people, people really want to make you feel like you are overrated. Make sure you always prove them wrong. Any small opportunity they give you, kill it. And there's something about showing excellence that even your enemies, it's hard to deny. They'll say, on this committee, I want to appreciate Funke. You know that they're not happy, but they have to say it because you're going to get the job done, number one. You're going to make them shine, number two. So imagine you're like this, you have a boss that doesn't like you, but every time he's winning awards because of the work you've done. Come on. And the way the workplace is now, the structure is a lot more flatter. So it's not those days where you have to go through one person to acknowledge what you've done. People can see it. So keep at it. You, anytime you feel like that, reinforce yourself. Someone said, I think it was Richard Branson, he said, if they give you a job you don't have competence for, take it and learn how to do it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was nice having you around. Thank you, ma'am.